Welcome back to the Season 3 World Championships live from Los Angeles, California. It is time for our first match of the day. It is going to be Europe's Lemondogs versus Korea's SK Telecom T1. And if the rematch between these two teams is anything to go by, the day one fight they had, they're going to come out swinging.
And Lemondogs in that game came out swinging for the fences. They had a very risky, super hardcore all-in level 1 strategy that was really cool. And in the end, they got first blood, they got the first turret, they had some early control, but the mid-game control from SKT, that was too much for Lemondogs to take out. And as we saw, SKT took that game pretty convincingly. Now, coming into the game, though, Lemondogs had a really solid plan. I talked to them, their picks and bans. They basically predicted all of the SKT picks and crafted a strategy that they thought was going to counter. The problem was for the Lemondogs, they failed to execute it very well, and Faker pretty much made everything happen. He got Ari, and he destroyed the opponent mid laner. Of course, there was a Swain picked out. It almost worked out, but I've got to sort of comment here that Faker was involved in 19 of his team's 20 kills, and anytime you see Faker get rolling, usually means SKT wins the game, and that's exactly what happened.
Absolutely, but despite how well Faker and SKT did against Nukeduck and the Lemondogs in their first meeting, the Korean squad believes they can do even better now that they have gone over their anxiety.
Well, SK Telecom, you have two factors, and it's basically Piglet and Faker that are very strong players.
레몬독스와 첫 경기를 할 때 되게 많이 불안했어요. 그 경기 때도 되게 힘들게 이겼고요.
I think their mid-game vision control is really, really outstanding. It's very hard to pull ahead of them, even if you win the early game.
The most important thing about them is like they have an edge over every team in terms of map control. I think we can all agree that Faker did like a really good job already. Like even when his team was behind, he tried everything he can in order to bring his team back, and I've been really impressed by him, by his play.
레몬독스 팀도 좀 잘하더라고요. 저희가 좀 방심하고 왔었는데 첫 경기를 하고 나서 좀 그나마 좀 방심이 풀렸던 것 같아요.
We're not really scared of any one of them. We do some respect bans, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, interesting thoughts there from Faker, obviously saying that they came in a little overconfident, and we had that feeling. And honestly, if you're ever going to beat SK Telecom, I feel day one was when you had to do it.
And that's traditionally been what's happened. We talked about that before the tournament even started, where in a best of 5, they will lose the first game or the first and second game and then come back. And, you know, maybe they really are the best team in the tournament, and they just had that slouch in day one, had a bunch of close games, they lost to OMG, and they really are unstoppable. Or we just see that these guys are actually very much mortal, and that Lemondogs still have a great chance into this game.
Well, we will see. Let's check out those lineups, because starting out on the blue side, it is going to be the Lemondogs. In the top lane is Zoro0, the junglers, Dexter, Nukeduck in that mid lane, Tabs as the AD carry, and Mithy is the support.
And in the red corner, it is... I'm going to wait for that applause real quick. In the red corner, it is SKT with Impact in the top lane, Bengi in jungle, Faker in mid, Piglet on AD carry. Those are not fake cheers, those are real cheers for Faker. And of course, Pumandu on support.
And that is the great thing of League of Legends. Everybody you can respect when you see absolute amazing plays. And we've seen them a number of times from Faker so far in this tournament as well. Not just in any old tournaments, in the World Championships. He's doing it when it counts, not just on single solo rank Q or something like that. It's really when it counts. What are we expecting to see from the picks and bans here? Because the first time they met, Lemondogs pulled out something special. But I'm not too sure they're going to get allowed to do it this time.
I talked to Tabs briefly before the game started a couple hours ago today, and he said they had a plan ready. Now, I don't know if it's a really cheeky plan where they're doing something like Swain again and baiting all the picks out, but just from what I've seen of Lemondogs, they're very intelligent in picks and bans. Here's the Vayne ban coming through saying either they ban Caitlyn as well or steal Caitlyn, or they're saying we know Piglet's going to play that champion and they're ready to deal with it.
Interesting, Kennen being taken away as well. Lee Sin taken off from Bengi, Shen taken away from Zoro0. These are actually all top lane champions aimed at Zoro0 so far. There's the Ari ban. Zed may get through.
That's the real question here, is you've got champions like Zed, you've also got Fizz in there that we've seen both these guys run, and SKT are now considering what their ban is, because SKT have actually traditionally first picked Ari whenever available. There's the insta-lock Zed. They didn't want to give away Elise.
Interesting, and well, you saw Zoro0 very happy to lock that one instantly. I'm pretty sure SK Telecom knew that was coming. There's some moment they went, we're going to have to use it on Elise. That means we're going to let Zed through. Let's see what Nukeduck can do on that.
That's awkward, though, that they banned Elise, because that's one of the other great early game junglers. And thing is, Vi, which Bengi's also known for, is a champion that Dexter loves to run. He's done it this tournament. So I feel like SKT ban themselves out a little bit here. I actually don't like the Elise ban so much because you would have predicted the rest of these. There's the Caitlyn, not Steel at this point anymore because, of course, Piglet's going to play Corki. But Lemondogs have picked their champions in fast. They saw this all coming. They're confident in their pick so far.
And this does show that this is a team that's researched it. Obviously, after the first meeting, the fact that Corki was picked up there, flavor of the tournament, it seems, rather than flavor of the month. And Zyra, of course, alongside him. Zyra also doing very well in this tournament.
Yeah, she's actually been the most picked support that I can recall actually in this so far. So Faker, this is actually a shout out. I was talking to Faker in the Champ Select lobby, and he said, I'm going to jungle Lulu for you. He's not actually going to, but I appreciate the shout out, Faker. Riven, though, that's interesting. All right, so I'm guessing that's impacting the top lane. They've already locked in the Jarvan jungle. That's interesting. We haven't seen her a lot in high-level competitive play.
Yeah, we haven't seen her at all this tournament. That's the first show in this tournament, so that notches it up to, I believe, about 48, 49 champions used so far. Sona looking like to be the support alongside that Caitlyn. So strong lane that will be up against Corki and Zyra. Maybe going to try and push them out of that lane or force them into a 2v1.
Yeah, here's the interesting thing really is early on, Caitlyn and Sona's going to have a better lane here because they're just going to deal damage from farther away and have undodgeable poke. But once levels start coming in, once you hit level 6 or even level 5, Corki starts doing a lot of damage to the Caitlyn and can weather the storm, as it were, and it starts to get more difficult. So early laning would go to Lemondogs, but as, like, if it is a 2v1 and they swap back into a 2v2, that goes to SKT's favor.
Well, we did see, of course, yesterday, Fnatic using that Corki, and actually the power, the damage that they can do early on kind of wasn't really respected by, I think it was Dade, wasn't it, that got caught out a few times. The final pick coming out, this is going to be for Looper, it seems. Oh! Wow, so take us through the picks, because where the heck is Faker going to be playing? He's not going to be on Singe, he's going to be on Riven.
This is a counter pick that no one saw coming. Faker, knowing he's up against Zed, and now I take everything back that I just said. Because they're like, oh, we know you're going to... Because they removed Elise, which is the other champion that Lemondogs had first picked, saying, we know you're going to go for Zed here. We'll counterpick you with Riven, and Riven's going to stomp on that matchup. Faker's going to want to fight Nukeduck, and Nukeduck's not going to like the results.
Well, we'll see how it works out for them, because Lemondogs, well, they could switch it around. What do you see from Lemondogs? Because let's not forget, they could decide to switch it to a 2v1 in that mid lane.
And 2v1 mid you can do. The one downside you have for 2v1 mid is that you can't deny experience. And you can't even 3-on-1 dive it either. So a lot of your options are actually removed. But at the same time, you then free up your lanes to roam around. Unfortunately for Lemondogs, Sona's not a great roamer. She's not like a Zyra or a Blitzcrank or a Taric or an Alistar where you make plays. She just... I can go hear the jungler as he steals a red buff away. So it'd be okay to 2v1 mid, but not optimal for Lemondogs.
So that is the teams, and while the teams do load onto the Rift, let's take a look at what you guys at home have voted for this one. According to lolesports.com, 79% of you guys at home have voted for SKT, and of course, all the analysts, guys, went for the same team, so everybody's on the same page right here.
Right or wrong, we're all in the same boat, so everyone high five your monitor for me. We all agree with each other, that's nice. Except for the 21% of you who went for Lemondogs. You guys are unrepresented here.
Well, to be fair, Lemondogs generally don't get the vote anyway, so they're going to be fairly used to this anyway.
What was the stat? Like 25 out of their 28 games
yeah,
in the regular
it's something
season?
ridiculous. The main one was against Fnatic, of course, when they played in the European LCS summer season. It was like 96% voted for Fnatic instead. Lemondogs still came out and won. So they don't care about the vote. Of course, the analysts, they all care about the vote because obviously everybody's chasing the viewers right now, and the viewers, well, they're all on the same page. So everybody believes SKT Telecom could be taking this one. We'll see how it works out because we are getting into the Rift. On the blue team, it is going to be Lemondogs, and the red team is SK Telecom T1. This is game day 5 of the group stages. One more day to go, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow is the big super day straight in there. Faker's going to get caught out. Can he get taken down? Yes, he will. First blood going down to Taps.
All right, well, I'm going to start taking back a lot more things that I was thinking. I'm going to rewatch that on my screen. Basically, he just gets jumped on by Lemondogs, and it's just a bunch of crowd control falls onto his face. So just like last time, Lemondogs got first blood. This time a bit earlier than before. This actually might be one of the fastest first bloods of the tournament. It was definitely before 1 minute in. Now, remember that last time SKT did come back from a horrible level 1 and from an early first blood deficit. But Tabs having Boots now in the lane means that the 2v2 is going to be brutal. The fact that he bought Boots tells me he's looking specifically for the 2v2 more so than before, because with movement speed he can abuse the range disparity he has against Corki.
Well, it does seem that SK Telecom are not going to be outdone by this one. You can see the 4-man invade possibly down the bottom. Lemondogs doing the same, going up the top. They had something funky planned out before. Remember, against OMG, it worked heavily in their favor, also against SK Telecom, but this time around, they've already got that first blood. Let's see if they can take anything more from this one, Freak, because this, at the moment, is going to be a standard red exchange.
It is just starting out as a standard red buff steal on both sides, and I don't think much is going to happen for this one. The only thing we've really shown so far, and actually Nuke kind of showed that they were going for red, which isn't a big deal. The only thing we've shown so far, though, is that Zoro0 is going to be committing himself to that bottom lane and will be put into a 2v1. SKT, I think, are going to get the better side of this because Corki is going to be able to survive that early game lane deficit, and then we'll see what the junglers end up doing with these lopsided lane matchups.
Well, Nuke happy to go in towards that 1v1 lane. You said it's going to go heavily into the favor of Faker. We'll see how it works out, Riven versus Zed in that mid lane.
And really the first blood assist for Nuke doesn't change very much. It's just a Doran's shield and maybe like 1 or 2 more potions than you would otherwise. But the really fun thing is going to be what Impact does with his teleport, because he went and took the double golems, and then he can show up to his lane late with a bit of an experience advantage, and I want to see how that pans out for him.
Yeah, with that teleport, of course, he's going to be heading back towards that top lane. We'll see how it develops. Bengi in that mid lane. Nuke taking damage from Faker already. Jumping straight on him. Straight up melee fight in there. But of course, the main thing is it's Lemondogs that have initiated this lane swap. So they wanted to have Tabs and Mithy in that top lane up against Impact, while Zoro0, you can see down this bottom lane, up against Piglet and Mandu.
To me, I think that was supposed to be sort of a mind game, and SKT won that mind game here. But at the same time, there's a 3-on-1 looking for the top lane, but it's right in front of Bengi.
Well, Bengi's going to find Dexter. They've both got the double buff on, and Dexter's going to lay down a lot more damage to Bengi. He's going to get more to come. Instead, just forces him away. Mithy comes around the backside. Impact is on that turret, but no aggression on them just yet, which means the tower damage is not going to become, but surely in this 3v2 position, they can't go aggressive here.
These guys won't be able to dive that turret easily, even though they're trying to kill the minion wave behind the turret, having the next one flood in. All they're doing is sort of buying time, but Zoro0 is going to have a rough time 1v2 regardless here. There's not much getting done by Dexter.
Well, at the moment, it's a rough time for Faker in that mid lane. He's taken a lot of damage out from Nuke there. Meanwhile, Zoro0, he's fending off the bottom lane. All the lanes being pretty much hyper-aggressive. Zoro0 keeping them at bay. Dexter's coming around. He's going to try to steal away those wraiths. He knows Bengi is still having to defend that top.
That's actually a really smart read. Good counter-jungling by Dexter. Now, you mentioned Faker as well. I'm surprised by the Doran's Blade opening because he knows Nuke can deal damage to him and wear down the health bar. And with Faker having no way of regaining his health back without having to auto-attack things and be in Zed's attack range, it's been making a really rough situation here for Faker.
Well, it's something we've seen in the past. Obviously, with the Orianna, you think he goes with that Chalice instead of going defensive. He wins these matchups ordinarily. Maybe he's bitten off more than he can chew against Nuke so far, because the CS, you can see, it's 27-16 in that mid lane. Big gap disparity building up for Nuke, and Faker's just had to go back and buy. So he's been sent packing early on by Nuke.
Alright, so he's going to come back to lane with an extra Doran's Blade as well as a potion, and that should be a little bit more to help him survive the lane. But of course, whenever Nuke goes back, he'll be able to buy a couple of long swords, maybe even 3 if he wanted to sort of bank up for a while. And it continues to make that matchup difficult for Faker. I guess I got the read wrong. I feel like he's going to keep going Nuke way, but maybe at level 6, just with the ulti, there's some grand power spike that Faker gets.
So what do we see from these lane swaps? Oh, tell a lie. Nuke's getting aggressed on. He is going to use that Living Shadow to get away. And Faker came straight back to lane, put the pressure down. Nuke was backing off before that. Bengi was just laying in wait as well. Back to my point, though, the 2 lanes that have swapped. You can see, obviously, Tabs and Mithy in this top lane. Who is gaining from this lane swap the most?
Well, the top lane turret's at half, the bottom lane turret is also at half HP, and you actually see that Impact is having a slightly better time of last hitting. He's at 19 compared to the 13 of Zoro0. Now, on the other side, though, Dexter's had a little bit more time to run around the jungle. He's just basically counter-jungling and looking for opportunities, whereas Bengi's more or less camping for his top laner, and that's a bit of a disparity.
But this is it. Faker running up towards that top lane. The ward's going to spot him, but is it going to be too far deep in towards that lane?
He's already ghosted.
A 3-man dive. You can see Mithy already flashed away from this one. He's going to get caught out. Mithy's going to be the sacrificial lamb. Tabs will get away, but that's Impact picking up the kill on Mithy.
That's a good pickup right there. It's when you've got a lane matchup like that, you didn't even need Faker to make that happen. It was just these guys were pushed up so far, Tabs was unable to land like a 90 caliber net or something to slow down the Singed advance. And there's just no tools there for someone to run from that.
Well, Nukeduck going aggressive on towards Faker there when he comes back to lane, forcing him back the long way around in towards that turret. Of course, he does pick up the assist goal, and did everyone in the SK Telecom camp right there. So 6.5 minutes gone, still very even. That first blood on Faker counteracting right now because he's been up there and helping out. But Nukeduck's doing a pretty good job in this mid lane. He's kept the CS advantage still in his favor, still around about that 15-20 minute mark. But now Faker's going to surely start coming into a bit more power spike.
It's going to get a little bit better. Riven, I think, scales a little bit harder off of early attack damage than the Zed does. But the one bad trade you saw against Nukeduck was because Faker had gone back and Nukeduck hadn't yet. So you've got a one-item advantage here for the Zed that honestly should keep Nukeduck in favor.
Well, we do see Dexter paying a visit towards those Wraiths once again. He's managed to take that camp away. He could go to those at the top. They've tried that 3v1 exchange, and that tower is low in the top lane. Of course, the red buff's just spawning. He may steal this one away. Bengi is doing the exact same in the bottom lane.
Thing is, it's not going to be the buff's not going to be available, but Bengi can look for a dive here. He ran through a ward in the river, so if Lemondogs are spotting this, they should be okay.
Mithy getting caught by the tower there. Impact's hoping to try and chase on this one. Has got Fling available in the moment. Tries to get the slowdown on him. He does. Dexter comes back around there and forces him away. Bengi, though, coming around towards the mid lane. We can see Nukeduck. He is pretty deep on this lane, feeling very confident up against Faker. Will he be too confident and push forward? No. Looks like Bengi is going to back away.
And Nukeduck's doing a very good job of, as I say that he actually uses the shadow, but it's because he saw Bengi go back into the jungle. Nukeduck's doing a very good job of holding on to his W cooldown, making sure he has it if he needs to escape. He's not wasting it away. And a point with Mithy, actually, that I really like is normally Sonas do not learn their speed buff at level 4. Mithy did here to run away from Singed, and of course, there's also a gank being set up by Dexter here.
But the problem is, he's going to actually land on towards Impact. Has he gone too early, though, Dexter? Because coming along the top is Piglet and Mandu. They're about to join this fight. Oh, and he flings Dexter straight in there. Dexter's got to run past it. He's going to get locked up. The tower does go down, but that is going to be a dead jungler for Dexter.
That's really unfortunate. He should have seen that when a turret goes down, the dual lane often swaps back. They have to be right in range there, but Dexter that was not a necessary dive. He should have known that there are people coming in to support that top lane.
Teleport down the bottom from Impact. That's going to force Zoro away from the turret. He was pushing up aggressively there. Nukeduck, he's going to see Bengi coming around the mid lane. Of course, that's going to give away their position, but the top lane's where they're going to be pushing. Mithy and Tabs will return to that top lane, so they're happy to keep a 2v2 now.
This will be the interesting thing because there's a BF sword picked up now for Tabs. I know I said earlier that like level 6 or 7 it gets really great for Corki, but there's a giant damage lead right now for the Lemondogs AD carry. So looking for that matchup and dealing damage, no, I tell a lie, he swaps back to the bottom lane. Just kidding, they still want to do the 2v1 pushes. All right, so Lemondogs still going for the 2v1, still trying to deny. And of course, now they've got the numbers advantage on the Dragon side of the map.
Yeah, it does look like, well, Mithy warding out, it seems that they want to get in towards that position. Impact, we've seen him on Singed a number of times. He's happy in this position. Obviously stepping in towards this tournament, but his Faker's going to get aggressed on. Dexter comes in there, tries to turn it back around on towards Nukeduck. Where's the damage going to go? Faker manages to avoid it. Nukeduck's now in trouble. He's trying to put the pressure down. Bengi playing good defensive linebacker there.
And ultimately, Faker burned more than the Lemondogs did out of this one. He lost both his summoners, whereas Nukeduck still has Flash. Ults come back from cooldown pretty quickly, but this top lane is getting rough. Piglet and Mandu are pushing that turret down so fast that I don't know if the Caitlyn Sona will kill the opposing SKT turret nearly in time.
Look at that. The communication there. Impact's realizing that Faker's going to go back. There's a wave of minions about to be pushed on towards that lane. Instead, he comes up, puts down his smoke, and manages to pick up a couple of CS. His bottom lane, of course, was pushed up heavily. That means Lemondogs are going to be putting pressure on towards that bottom tower, but this top tower, it's going to go down. This is going to be the second turret of the game for SK Telecom.
I'm very impressed by the moves here by SKT because you normally consider Caitlyn such an incredible turret pusher, and yet despite all of that, SKT has just built a turret lead out of this one. And honestly, they have the ability to roam back down and contest Dragon if they want to, or just keep putting pressure on sides of the map that doesn't allow a Dragon attempt for Lemondogs.
Yeah, at the moment, you can see Impact, of course, just shoving that wave back along there. There is no tower defense for them. Zoro is having to return to that top lane. He's still keeping up the CS. Himself and Impact are still keeping it pretty even, despite the fact they've not been up against one another, but the mid laners, that's where the power's really going to start coming from, Freak. And you can see they're starting to have a bit of a build disparity between the two. Obviously, Faker looks like he's going to be rushing for Pay. Maybe he's going to go play the Rune Kang afterwards, I don't know. He's got Brutalizer. Nukeduck in the meanwhile He's rushing out for that Blade of Rune King.
Yeah, there's a couple of different builds you can see from Ribbons. I've seen a million different ones. So some people can rush a Last Whisper. Some guys can actually go for an early Bloodthirst or Ravenous Hydra. We'll see where he goes. Of course, early Brutalizer is standard. Now, of course, Dragon being picked up, SKT got their turret. They roam back down. Lemondogs are not ready to stop this one, though. Crescendo comes across. Bengi just jumps in. Mithy goes down already.
Yeah, you can see them immediately. Dexter's going to come back around. He catches 3 of them, gets flung straight away. Zoro Zero comes in. Can they get the damage down? No, they can't. That's going to be a double for Piglet. Zoro Zero goes down as well. And now Nukeduck's in all sorts of trouble. SK Telecom are cleaning up here. This is going to be the 4th kill. And wow, they just dominated Lemondogs there. 6-2 in kills.
Lemondogs limped into that fight kind of one at a time. Not a well-constructed battle at all. You saw them just getting picked off one by one by one. Nothing really coordinated there. SKT grouped up, had the forethought to group for the Dragon. Watch this fight. Mithy just gets straight up caught, has to basically waste Crescendo, doing nothing. Flashes away. Watch, they've got 2 members here fighting alone, having to run away. Then Dexter shows up into 4 people, still has no one really supporting. Zoro comes in from the back, and it's too little too late. 2 people are dead before the fight really begins. And you can just see SKT grouped up. They chase down Nukeduck all together, and they don't let Tabs get free shots from the back.
So SK Telecom in full confident position right now. Once again, they're just systematically taking the bottom and top, taking that Dragon away, taking away a 4-for-1 fight as well. So big advantages gained by SK Telecom. What will they turn this one into? You can see obviously Impact had that Rod of Ages. Trinity Force just being completed by Piglet. Big power spikes starting to come out from the Koreans.
And at this point, Corki has spiked massively. It's 13 minutes in, his Triforce is done, and this is normally a strength of Corki's. He spikes really hard in the mid-game. Trinity Force is pretty easy to complete, or at least piece together. But now he's just ahead of the curve in terms of gold as well. Tabs is sitting on a BF sword. If he wanted to go Infinity Edge, he's barely half the way there, but the mid lane's getting dived.
You can see Nukeduck, he's going to get away from this one. Piglet and Mandu pulling that pressure down. Just off to the side was Bengi, and actually I was wondering whether he was going to head up towards the top. The 2, Zoro Zero and Impact, it's actually really the first time they've been up against each other in lane.
And the actual difference in builds is interesting because I actually like Impact's build more. Zoro built to split push. He's going for a Sunfire cape, but aside from the Giants build, it doesn't help him fight against Singed very well, who's also got a level lead. So Impact's going to have a wonderful time at this 1v1.
Well, Impact just trying to run on towards him. He's trying to keep that poison flowing, which he does impressively. That's actually his ultimate is not running, despite the fact it sounds like it is. It's just a spectator issue right there. Tab's getting caught out in the bottom. Bengi pushing in towards that mid lane. A lot of pressure on towards the middle turret. This is going to be the 3rd one of the game, and Piglet goes aggressive straight afterwards. Onto Nukeduck. You see that burst spike of damage. Remember, he has that Trinity Force. Dexter with the Assault Battery, but he's gone too deep. The rest of his team are not on the same page. Mithy can't help him out, and now it's a big push from SK Telecom in the mid lane.
Figures gonna eat the trap, no big deal. The mid-game spike is here for SKT. They've rotated everyone down to the mid lane, and notice that they got the rest of their lanes pushing in order to get this to happen. Impact went all the way down to the secondary turret. Bottom already got pushed out as well, and this 5v5 is just stronger for SKT. They can take any turret they want.
Well, it seems the Lemondogs can't really defend this one. They're trying to clear that wave. Zoro Zero is trying to be that big tank up front. They do finally force SK Telecom away. I'm not too sure whether it's forced or whether SK chose to actually just back away from that one.
Well, they've got a bit of time to wait anyway because their minions ran out. They're not strong enough to just backdoor turrets in the face of their enemies. So Faker gets to roam to the bottom lane. He knows he can run away. Texter's ultimate is down, which is the only way Faker gets caught here. So you can see him actually take a fight if he wants to, but could also run.
He may also turn this one around. We've seen him do it before, and Faker wants a piece of Nukeduck. Not going to happen. The ultimate pops from Nukeduck and finally gets him down, but he needed the help from Mithy, otherwise he would have gone down.
That was a bit overconfident. Faker was sitting on about 2,000 gold. He had bought up a BF sword and Boots' speed after coming back to base. If he had those items, he'd have won that fight. So you're right that Faker didn't get caught. He happened to go back into the fight and got overconfident. So, which was what he talked about in the video. Said I won't get overconfident. Seemed to still happen here, though. Seems
to still have that confident flow, and why not? Because right now they are 6-3 up. Zoro Zero gets caught and spotted out by that phosphorus bomb with Piglet. Ward gets placed in there. Bengi going to be taking away this blue buff from Nukeduck. It's not going to harm him too heavily because not a lot of heavy mana champions, if many at all.
Yeah, there's no real need for the blue buff from these guys. It actually works incredibly well on Vi. Getting more abilities out is pretty massive for her. But in the end of the day, it's just SKT taking blue because it's taking map control. These guys are very, very good at taking control of the mid game and not letting their opponents breathe. You're seeing Impact not even let Zoro last hit minions here, just body blocking them with himself. Of course, Zero trying to freeze the lane if he can, but I don't know if it's going to mean much. He's going to get flinged to take damage.
Just going to fling him back over. Impact causing a nuisance of himself, and the rest of the team are gathering in this mid lane. You can see Faker and Bengi there. Mandu just off at the side. Piglet joins the top lane. They're going to go aggressive. They fling Zoro0 in. They may have the damage to burst him down here. He's on that turret. He's a big tank, but he's not quite got enough. Gets away with it. Just about Zoro0 there. Now they can see the transfer around. Can the rest of Lemondogs try and chase on towards it? Impact is low. Piglet is low, but there's no one really there to respond.
And look what just happened there. Impact sat there tanking the turret against the main tank of Lemondogs, saying, Bengi, Piglet, just keep hitting him. Just keep hitting him. He'll fall down eventually, and forced the defending team away in a just 2v1 turret dive. That is what SKT are doing here. And now I want you to pay attention to the pink wards. The ward control is now what's important for SKT, because if they want, they can set up a trap at Baron and force Lemondogs to face check into it if they don't want to just play the siege game.
The Dragon fight coming in 45 seconds time will certainly be one of the pivotal moments in this game. You can see Tabs, he's got that Infinity Edge built up now. Piglet, meanwhile, getting towards that last Whisper, trying to gain in there. Faker chasing down on towards Nuke. They realize if they can take him down, he's in all sorts of trouble. He's going to try and turn his ultimate down. Flashes away from this one as well, but that will force him away from the fight. He's got 25 seconds to go back and come towards that Dragon, or it's going to be all over. And Zoro0 is nowhere to be seen for this one. This is surely a Dragon for SKT.
Yeah, there's no way Lemondogs could challenge for it, even if they did have all 5 members around. Instead, Lemondogs are making the best of a bad situation, trying to get Zoro0 some farm at the top lane. With the Sunfire Cape, he will push fast, but of course Impact has teleport, so if SKT want, they can just defend the turret without much issue. And of course, only sending a couple people to take the Dragon to keep the bottom lane pushed as well. SKT are confident they've got the control to 2-man objectives and defend the other ones with 1.
Here's an interesting perspective. Zoro0 up against Faker in that top lane on the golems. Has he got the damage to take him down? It seems he may have. Scares Zoro0 out the lane and takes the golem.
Exactly. This is just Faker, who is massive. His team is ahead. You've got 3 turrets and all the dragons. Faker has 5,900 gold to the 4,900 of Zoro0. Even though their minion kill scores are reasonably close, 1,000 gold lead has been built up from globals, and that's going to happen for every member of SKT. Each single person there can outduel their counterpart.
So we see Dexter backing off himself, trying to create situations throughout this one, but simply put, it's not worked out for him. Went a little too aggressive in that top lane early on, and it seems to have just swung like a pendulum for SK Telecom ever since then. You can see that mid lane turret already taken a lot of damage. Tabs is desperately trying to keep them off this one. SK keep coming back, keep returning to this mid lane. They're just getting that little poke on it every time.
And that's what, honestly, these guys are doing. Is you saw Mandu actually put a plant down because turrets will hit plants before champions. And so he's like, yeah, just get 2 free attacks, we'll back out in time. There's really no rush for SKT. These guys scale into late game just fine, and they're constantly clearing away the jungle as well. There's really no pressure for them to win fast. They can just keep building a lead and take the advantages as they show up.
SK Telecom trying to set a trap here, but I don't believe Lemondogs are going to fall for this one. They're not really looking to ward out that Baron just yet, although will they? Dexter taking a look towards it. No, instead puts a wise ward down there. Zoro0 is the one that's trying to do it. He may get caught out of position. SK Telecom going to dive for this one. Tabs gets caught out. He gets dropped down completely. Dexter's going to be the next focus target. He's trying to get away from this one, but Nuke looks out of position. Tries to use a living shadow to get away. Cataclysm closes him in there. Goes on towards Piglet. Ooh. Just gets dropped where he stands by Faker. And SK Telecom clean up. That's a 2-for-0 easy victory there, and that is going to be an inner turret.
That is going to be probably some more as well. With 2 members down, there's no way Lemondogs can defend their base or a Baron. And the thing is, that jump in was not required by Lemondogs. Good job by SKT to set up the bait, and good patience by them as well. But Zoro0 got a ward onto Baron. He knew there was nothing actually imminently being taken. Lemondogs thought they could surround Impact, not realizing where the rest of SKT was, and because Mandu has an Oracles, he guaranteed his team was in darkness, and Lemondogs face-checked anyway, and they got those kills.
I think we're going to see a return. Myth is going to get focused on, has to use that crescendo, gets cleansed off instantly by Piglet. Ace in the hole comes out, blocked out by Bengi, not going to find its target. Impact continues to chase, keeps the whole team away. Lemondogs can't go near their own jungle right now.
They absolutely cannot. There's too much damage potential here. There's no catch potential, although it is going to be the top lane turret now taking siege, despite the fact that they could keep baiting Baron. it's SKT looking for pushes constantly.
Faker taking a couple of tower hits there, got stunned out by Zoro0. Lemondogs looking to maybe try and chase on this one, maybe sensing a little bit of an advantage, but meanwhile the mid lane, you can see Impact, he's just running rings around that inhibitor turret. Somebody somewhere has to deal with Impact.
Yeah, he's just going to keep the push going, and of course he still has kept his teleport up for an incredibly long time, despite the fact that he could have used his summoner spell to stop the push in the top lane, to get into fights and whatnot. SKT are leaving it up as a resource. Their rotations, something we keep talking about, their mid game and their rotations for SKT are so good. They're playing it on foot, and then if something really does happen that's crazy, they can use that teleport later on, but they're letting everyone else take rotations in the meantime. So I've got to say that's a good set of plays here by the Korean squad. They're definitely looking good coming into the second to last day of their group.
Well, I think back to way back into the MLG New York days when I was alongside Monte Cristo, ironically, when we saw the Koreans first bursting onto the scene in North America, and they absolutely shredded everyone. And back then, they were still 2-3 steps ahead of people, and it seems that still we yet to catch up with them. Certainly the Lemondogs at the moment, they just seem lacking in when it comes to SK Telecom's sort of positioning. They just seem to put the pressure on all of the lanes to be in perfect position to just set up those ganks.
It really is. It's the ward control game. It's a lot of these teams are not familiar with what to do when the enemy team is constantly in fog of war. All these moves come through because you don't see the other team. They don't see where SKT is, and they walk into one brush too many. Same situation. Pink wards, oracles, running near Baron. They see, oh, well, Lemondogs are actually in the mid lane. Okay, we can take it now because they didn't check last time.
Yeah, and you can see Impact's just keeping vision on them, knows that they're nearby. Mandu's just off the side. They sneak and hide in there, so Zoro0 has to come all the way in there to check it. Goes in, goes too deep. Stranglethorn separates them out there. Dexter goes in. Assault Battery already used on Mandu. He gets dropped down by Faker. Faker turns it back around. SK Telecom are pretty low right now. If Tabs can gain a good position, he may be able to start getting some damage down, but instead, Impact and Piglet completely separating them. That's going to be Nuke not going down. Now we can see Mithy and Tabs running for their lives away from Impact and Piglet.
And again, another fight well played by SKT, forcing Lemondogs in. That's a kill on the Mithy. He's just going to go down. Singe chasing, not something exactly new at this point in this game. And it's just over and over. It's SKT setting up fights that they can easily win. Lemondogs runs into them, onto the Zyra ultimate. It spreads apart the team. SKT get another clean team fight win, and they take another turret off of it over and over again. Methodical
play from SK Telecom. 24 minutes coming into this one. The first inhibitor of the game will go down. It's 12-3 in kills, 5-1 in turrets, and well, you can see that 9,000 gold advantage building ever so more. Tabs having to use the 90 caliber net to try and escape the oncoming horde of SK Telecom. Just about getting away from there. Everybody seems to be on point right now for SK Telecom. We talked about it at the start of the show. Just you had to pick up those wins on day one. Maybe catch them a little bit disoriented, but they seem to be coming in today full of confidence.
Exactly. The SKT are just a team with so much control and knowledge over how to play the game. And Lemondogs, being a bit of a new squad, they're a little bit green. They haven't quite ripened yet. These guys have more future to play, of course, for themselves. We talk about what happened with Mineski. They said, you know, we're happy to be here. We're learning a lot, and these are really smart teams to play with. And again, to that point where a lot of these teams haven't played against supports like Mandu, who just create fog of war the entire time and never let you move. Lemondogs get to experience that now and say, this is the kind of game that we could evolve ourselves into. This is the kind of game that we could compete against if we learn the play style. And they'll keep learning.
Zoro0 having to use Dominus, going to try and turn it around. The aggression on towards him. Assault Battery on towards Faker. Have they bitten off more than they could chew? Faker's going to try and run away from this one. They've got Slice and Dice in a moment. No. Gets to the turret. The rest of SK Telecom join in there. Teleport coming in from Impact. And now they're closing the gap. They catch the grasping roots on towards Dexter. The fling comes in. Dexter goes in to his death and demise. He will go down. It's Faker that picks up the kill. Ace in the hole not getting through there. Faker does go down. Nuke picking up the kill there. Nuke too deep, all on his own. He's going to get taken down. It's Mandu that manages to close it out. It's a 2-for-1 to SK Telecom.
And there is a 7-0-3 Corki with a bunch of items. Going to continue to lead the charge here. A 4v3. This might be the game-winning push. There are super minions here. Just kidding. SKT looking for the top lane.
And just look at Impact's build. He knew what he was up against. It's all about the melee and armor damage, and just goes straight for that Thornmail, building into exactly what he's up against in their opposition team.
And that's just so smart in general. That we talked about a little bit with Zoro0 going for the fast Sunfire cape. He's actually going into a bunch more armor as well, realizing that Faker and Piglet are the most damage, but he's never even had a chance to fight against Impact, who's had an easier build path and really no counter building for him either.
And it seems that every time Lemondogs try to create that situation, SK Telecom are there, they're reacting, they're already into position. You saw it, obviously that started off with Dexter and Zoro trying to create a situation, trying to get into Faker, but the rest of SK Telecom reacted so quickly.
Well, think about what they're trying to catch right here. The only guy who can really engage is Dexter on Vi, maybe a flash note from Miffy. But you're trying to chase a Singed, which is like rule number 2 of League of Legends, is don't chase Singed. Or chasing a Jarvan who's going to flag toss away, or Faker on Riven who's going to press Q a bunch and get out of range, or Korg who's going to Valkyrie. Like, every single one on SKT has really good disengage tools. And then when you dive really hard because you're Zed and Renekton and Vi, Stranglethorns shows up. There's really, like, sort of categorically in a team fight, SKT has all the tools they need. In addition to the fact that they've played the mid game so well, SKT I think have done remarkably from second 0 all up till now.
Well, it is going to be the Baron for SK Telecom, not a person from Lemondogs anywhere near that half of the map, let alone coming in to try and get it placed. But look how many pink wards are down and around that area. They have full vision control of the entire area of Lemondogs jungle. And
that is SKT earning that Baron. For the last 10 minutes, they've had that area pink warded and Mondu's had an Oracles, and every time Lemondogs, sticks their nose in there, tries to chase him down, and gets kicked back for it. And finally, SKT trained them to not look for Baron because it's gone bad every single time. Of course, now SKT have Baron, and we're probably going to see them push in for another win here.
Well, he did manage to avoid a couple of puns there, Freak. I'm disappointed in you. Sniffing the air right now is SK Telecom to see if they can find Lemondogs. And it does seem that it's going to be another free inhibitor turret. There was no fight put up from that one because Lemondogs realizing they can't fight for this one. Look at that. Tabs putting damage onto Impact. He's just laughing at him in his face openly, realizing that they can't do anything about this one. The battle for the Nexus turrets will follow. Faker goes in on towards Dexter. Zoro goes aggressive. The ace in the hole comes out. Does manage to land onto Faker. Zoro gone way too deep away from his Nexus turrets. Where are you going, Zoro? Get back to your turrets. You do see the Cataclysm coming down. Crescendo lands down there. Mandu taken low. Tabs tries to get in. He's gone too deep. Impact gets in towards him. Zoro will eventually go down to Faker. They realize it is all over. Bengi manages to get the kill onto Tabs. Zoro continues to chase away from this one. Gets a little bit of lifesteal off those walls. Slice and dices away. But he's not going to get anything more from it. Mandu goes down. The rest of the base will follow. And it's SK Telecom taking away the first game of the day here on day 5.
And the moral victory for Baker at the end. He takes down Zoro. Nexus falls over. This is SKT looking to secure one of those 2 playoff spots out of the group. They're a game behind OMG, but a game ahead of TSM. Now 2 at this point. So let's make it happen.
Confident performance from SK Telecom. And remember, first blood went down within the first minute of the game. It was Faker that actually got caught out, but it wasn't to be for Lemondogs once again. SK Telecom looking so strong here in day 5. Can they go all the way? Of course, the positions all up for grabs in this group. Big important game up against TSM later on, because that will really be that decider for second place. With OMG 4-0 so far in that group, you're going to expect them to maybe pick up another win today.
It's definitely likely. If we kind of expand our look down to the playoff race, you do have to look forward, as you just said, to the SKT-TSM match. But when you look at this game, SKT, they looked pretty much like SKT. All right, kind of a silly play at level 1. Faker got a little bit aggressive, got caught out. All right, fine. But that didn't hold SKT down. They played the standard controlled game. I think they got lanes that they wanted. They got the first turret kill. Bengi camped for his top laner, and actually, with a couple lane rotations, picked up some kills that way as well, and just built a lead. Took a really good dragon fight in the mid game, and then controlled Baron, and that gameplay carried them through the game.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. SK Telecom, they pick up their first win of the day. Let's get over to Quickshot and the guys at the desk to break it all down for you.
Thank you very much, D-Man. First of all, congratulations to SKT. Let's talk a little bit about the game. Let's go all the way back to the picks and bans. We seen the Riven locked in after SKT had given away that Z to the Lemondogs. Cripper, you were talking about a little bit, and Monty actually mentioned that SKT were talking about the fact they've scrimmed as playing Riven against Fnatic. But talk to me about the matchup a little bit and your thoughts.
I just think this was a bait. Nobody in this tournament at this point will get Z for free or by accident, so they actually knew perfectly what they were going to do. And as you saw, Riven was a pretty decent matchup. We couldn't really evaluate how it went in the hands of these 2 players due to the deficit early. Faker had to blow his summoners on Faker Playmaker, but he was face shaking the bush.
It was a pretty terrible play by Faker
Yeah, it
at
was
level 1.
no respect again. Like you have to respect the brush at least if you can't see who's inside. But from a deficit, he played really well. Got back into the game, had a really good roam top. Maybe we'll touch on that later. Yeah, just solid play by Faker.
I think this is the best game for him to kind of have a wake up call where like he need, his ego kind of, or maybe not his ego, but his overconfidence can be toned down because he still won. And maybe this is like the best time to have a wake-up call. Like maybe I can't just be Faker all the time, no matter what.
Well, that said, we also saw how the rest of his team can carry right there, and you can see that it was really a decision for them once Faker got down. When he roamed top for that gank, when Lemondogs was pushed up to turret in top lane, they intentionally gave that kill to Impact. Faker peeled off, and they waited for Singe to pick that one up. So at that point, they knew Faker was behind, and they were focusing on buffing up their other lanes. And that was Piglet's first professional game on Corki as well. He obviously had a pretty dominating performance. So there's a lot of threats on this team.
I want to highlight something that they also did with Impact in particular, because after that level 1 start, we did the traditional sort of red buff trades that we see fairly often at this level of the game. Mandu was helping Impact steal away those double golems. He then recalled, ran back to lane. So not only was it taking that camp, Singe would have been sitting in a 1v2 lane doing nothing anyway. It was a great start and something that we don't see all too often at this level of play.
But that's a kind of play that really abuses the fact that if you're in a 2v1 lane, you're going to be freezing the minion waves. And if you know that, you can take that assumption that pro teams make and make plays elsewhere on the map at level 1, come back in time to pick up that experience.
There's basically two ways to people play a 2v1 lane. Either they push the wave on really quick, and on the second wave, they'll stack for a little bit, second wave pushing the tower, early harass on the tower. Then there's the alternative where they slowly push it, and until the point where no more creeps are dying on your side, then they push it in. That's like a stack 3 or 4 waves. Generally, they synergize that with the jungler. If you know a team plays a lot like that, they will abuse the fact that their jungler is open. We've seen Darian do it as well in the European LCS match against us. We had no idea where he was. He did Wolves and Wraiths, and then went back to bot lane.
Yeah. I have to say, overall, it seemed like SKT was able to make their adaptations quicker. Lemondogs also made mistakes. It wasn't just Faker here making some questionable calls. Lemondogs, they went for that dive after the bottom 2v1 situation. SKT1, their duo had already recalled, so they were definitely going to make a lane rotation. And then Dexter puts himself behind the turret, cut off from his allies, and it all went downhill from there.
Honestly, from Lemondogs right there, if we think about, they could have had more dragon control in the early game. They really focused on keeping control over SK Telecom's red in the top jungle, and I feel like they could have made a potentially good dragon play, but they made that decision instead, and I think that cost them in the long run.
And I think this is a great game to illustrate why SKTT1 is just kind of stronger right now than Lemondogs. Like Lemondogs team comp, Renekton, Zed, Caitlyn, that's such an early game oriented team comp. You have to pull ahead early game and then you can snowball it from there. They actually did pull ahead early game and shut down their enemy team's star player, and they still weren't able to close it out. SKTT1 still, even at a deficit, was able to win dragon fights and take objectives.
Definitely something every other team in this group and in this tournament will have to keep their eyes on.
Welcome back to the Season 3 World Championship, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. In just a few minutes, Gaming Gear EU and OMG are going to square off. But first, I'd like to welcome SKT1's mid laner Faker to the interview lounge. First of all, Faker, we want to talk about Riven. Not a champion that we see every day. Talk to us about the Riven pick.
페이커 선수 먼저 인터뷰 라운지에 오시게 된 걸 축하드리고요. 첫 번째로 리븐을 선택하신 거에 대해서 먼저 여쭤보고 싶은데 리븐은 평소에 잘 선택되지 않는 챔피언이잖아요. 왜 선택하셨는지요?
일단 제가 리븐은 거의 한국에서 거의 안 했거든요. 근데 북미 서버 와서 처음으로 솔로 랭크에서 돌려봤는데 되게 재밌고 또 여러모로 좋은 챔피언인 것 같아서 한번 써보자 하고 대회에서 한번 픽 해봤던 것 같아요.
So Riven, I rarely played Riven back in Korea, and I started playing Riven a lot once I came here this month, and played her during a solo rank queues, and I found her a lot of fun. She had many utilities and awesome skills, so that's why I chose her.
So let's talk then about the next step in the game after the Riven pick, which was the Riven death at level 1. What was going through your mind after that happened?
그러면 이제 그 리븐을 선택한 것 다음에 일어난 일, 그러니까 리븐의 죽음. 퍼블을 당하셨는데요. 퍼블 당했을 때 어떤 생각이 나셨나요?
일단 퍼스트 블러드를 당했을 때 되게 불안한 건 없었고요. 그냥 좀 게임 끝나고 코치님한테 혼날 생각이 많이 났던 것 같아요. 그래서 그 점으로 좀 불안했었는데 또 경기가 잘 풀려 나가서 괜찮았던 것 같아요.
When I died, I wasn't worried about the outcome of the game. I was more worried about my coach grilling me about, giving first blood. So in that sense, I was worried, but, I was fine after.
So after the abysmal start, I think we'll call it, what happened? How was that game turn around, in your opinion, for SKT?
일단 최악의 시작이라고 일단 얘기를 할게요. 최악의 시작 다음에 경기를 돌렸는데 그 경기를 돌리게 된 그 주요 이유가 무엇이었나요?
일단 저 때문은 아닌 것 같고 저 빼고 탑의 임팩트랑 피글렛이 너무 잘해줘서 게임이 쉽게 풀렸던 것 같아요.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't me. Top's Impact and Piglet played really well, and I think their play turned around the game for us.
So, in the 2 days that you've had, as downtime almost, what have you guys done to really prepare yourself to take that next level and make sure that you qualify, for the playoffs coming forward?
거의 이틀간의 휴식 기간을 가지셨는데 그 이틀 동안에 이제 그 다가오는 경기랑 이 롤챔에 대한 어떤 준비를 하셨나요?
일단 저희 SKT는 거의 이틀 동안 쉬지 않고 계속 연습했는데 아침, 밤 계속 연습했거든요. 근데 저는 긴장 안 하는 법을 배웠어요. 그동안 긴장을 어떻게 하면 안 할까 하고 연구를 많이 했는데 그래서 40초 만에 퍼스트 블러드를 당한 게 아닐까 하고 좀 그런 점도 있네요.
So we stayed around and just practiced day and night. We prepared. But one of the things I really tried to work on was to not, feel the pressure and get, tighten up. And I think that's why I gave first blood. I was too relaxed.